Hello everyone, Darren here, and welcome to my brand new Let's Play for Total War Warhammer 2, playing as Luthor Harkon of the Vampire Coast with several mods, including SFO Grimhammer 2, which is a really large overhaul mod, and then as well GCCM, which adds a bunch of new maps into the game. Now you'll also notice that I'm running several graphical mods, UI changes, and enhanced lore for increased immersion, which is kind of what this playthrough is going to be all about. Now if you're curious about the mods that I'm using in greater detail, then just check the description of the video and you'll find everything you need to know. So, the aim of this playthrough is to get really immersed into the game, learn more about the lore, and of course try to prioritize just having a fun and varied experience. I'm not a min-max player, I'm not someone who wants to cheese the game or the AI, because that just, for me at least, breaks the fourth wall. So I'm going to be building varied armies just for the fun of it. I'll be trying to travel the world, do cool stuff, see cool things, and we're also going to be looking at the lore for those various races and units in depth. Just so people know what to expect, I've got about 400 hours in Total War Warhammer 2, which for a game that actually came out 4 years ago isn't really all that much, so I actually haven't seen everything it has to offer since its various updates. I don't own all the DLC, which means I'm going to have new lords and heroes to encounter in this campaign which I haven't seen yet, which I'm very excited for. The same then goes for SFO, Grimhammer, and GCCM. I haven't seen all of those things, I've dabbled with them a little bit, and they're both very popular mods that flesh out the game with more mechanics, more units, new maps, so there's just lots of new stuff to discover. Now, if you like the sound of this, then please do consider giving the video a like and follow along with new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday. That's Tuesday and Thursday. All future episodes will be uploaded to my Republic of Let's Play channel. That's my secondary channel just for Let's Plays, and the second episode is going to be there right now. So just follow the links in the description, top comment, or in the video itself to take you right into the next episode. Now, as well as that, if you really like the series and you want to help it continue for as long as possible, you can always become a channel member here on YouTube. That'll get your name in the credits, a unique Discord role, priority when it comes to reading comments and getting named units in the game, and things like that. The better the series does, be it for views or channel members, the longer I'm able to do it, setting new objectives to faraway lands. That is provided I don't die in the first 10 turns or something. Alright, without any further delay, let's begin. So here we are in the Mortal Empire screen for Total War Warhammer 2 with the Vampire Coast selected, Luthor Harkon as the awakened faction. Now we'll read some of these effects and things when we get into the game itself, but I thought at the very beginning here we could actually brush up on our lore for Luthor Harkon himself and the Vampire Coast. Every time I encounter a new legendary lord on the campaign map, I'm going to do a very similar thing here, which is bring up the encyclopedia, check out their lore, and maybe put some footage on while we're reading it. So let's take a look. Piracy was not Luthor Harkon's initial career choice. The vampire, whose origins are shrouded in mystery, was traveling in his sarcophagus across the Great Ocean aboard an Empire merchant ship when it was attacked by a band of savage Norscan raiders. Unfortunately for them, in their rabid scramble for loot, they prized open Harkon's burial chest, awakening him from his dreamless slumber. By the time the ship broke up on the rocky Lustrian coastline, all the surviving crew had undergone something of a change in both their allegiance and their vital signs. Since that day, Harkon has ruled the region now known as the Vampire Coast, setting sail upon the Great Ocean in search of loot, plunder, and fresh recruits to raise into his service. As leader of a pirate fleet crewed exclusively by the dead and damned, he holds sway over a sea region of high winds and perilous currents that have proven to be incredibly treacherous to many unwary vessels, swelling his horde of undead mariners with the reanimated corpses of shipwrecked unfortunates. Luthor Harkon teeters constantly on the very brink of insanity, due in no small part to his colossal pride and greed, qualities which on one devastating fateful occasion led him to almost lose his life as well as his mind, and certainly lost him all of his magical abilities short of the power to raise his minions and bind them to his inexorable will. The story goes that while on a fateful quest to further augment his already not inconsiderable might, Harkon attempted to use his dark magic to enter a chamber inside a lizardman temple buried deep within the deadly Lustrian jungle. Powerful glyphs barred his way, but he pushed onwards in spite of the barriers, and driven by his fatal flaw, his great arrogance and hubris, causing the magical seals to retaliate and drain his magical power, and then his life force, whilst the walls of the ancient ritual chamber began to crumble. With supreme effort, Harkon managed to break free and stagger outside as a passageway collapsed behind him, but the damage had been done. His connection to the winds of magic had severed, and his mind was shattered, leaving his personality fractured into a dozen different facets, which to this day battle for dominance in his mind. In the years since, the only common goal that Luthor Harkon's various personalities have been able to work towards is that of finding a cure for his condition. To this end, the Pirate King of the Vampire Coast has bent his obsessions to seizing Slann artifacts in the hope that their power can heal his damaged psyche. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Without any further delay, let's begin.
Greetings, Arch Grand Commodore. The oceans are ripe for piracy, and you, as the founder of the Vampire Coast, should take to the seas at once. However, in the north, a crew abandons your command. See them flogged for their lack of loyalty, and send a clear message to all would-be mutineers. The oceans of this world are a ferocious and deadly place, but nothing compares with the galleon's graveyard. Sail carefully here, my lord, for it has devoured many great ships that have strayed too close. To the south, in the hot, arid dunes, the followers of Nagash plot his return to power. Their hunger may prove a useful tool in building an alliance of the dead. Across the straits, elves and the accursed lizards rule the jungle cities. As you well know, much gold can be plundered here, and resources gathered to further your fleet. Just avoid the cursed treasure. I know I speak to not one, but many who inhabit your fractured mind, Lord Harkon, and that some consider this a weakness and curse. But like gold doubloons, more is better than one. Raise anchor, and as one, begin the reaving.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We're ready to begin as Luthor Harkon of the Vampire Coast. I thought what we could do here at the very beginning is just go over how they play. There's so many different mechanics on display for the Vampire Coast in particular, but then as well with all of the mods that we're throwing on top of it. And I have to say, just really quickly off the bat, that I'm super excited to get started. These things are weeks in the making just to get ready for the series as a whole. If you're planning on doing something for weeks on end, it requires a lot of testing of these mods, tweaking of graphic settings, purchasing music licenses, and all of that. So I'm just excited to finally get started with a really good solid playthrough for Total War Warhammer here. So before we get into it, let's have a look at how they play, and that way we can bring everyone up to speed on the Vampire Coast and their various mechanics. So we have pirate crews and shipbuilding. Enlist and expand your crew via pirate settlements or from your legendary lord's flagship. Your lord operates as a mobile fighting and constructing platform, independent from normal empire building and able to recruit and construct from their flagship at sea or on land without the need of a settlement. So that first major feature is huge. It basically means that Luthor Harkon here is essentially has this meta progression to him where he's able to build up his ship that he, I guess, brings around with him, and then we can go into the sea, recruit from there, and so on and so forth. There are tons of options at our disposal for how we're going to choose to build and what we choose to get, and he's going to kind of keep that progression, hopefully, throughout the entire game. The next thing we have is Infamy. To become a legendary pirate, you must first acquire Infamy through your actions. Defeating armies, capturing settlements, and establishing pirate coves will increase your Infamy levels. In doing so, your ranking on the list of infamous pirates will improve, rising towards the top and drawing the attention of legendary pirates in possession of the powerful verses of the Lost Sea Shanty. So here there's 14 legendary pirates. We're at the very bottom in terms of our infamy levels, and all the way at the very top is the legendary Baron von Heasty, who I have no doubt is named after the famed legendary designer at Creative Assembly, Mitchell von Heasty, shall we say. And a fun fact, I used to live with the guy. Great guy. And I'll be taking immense pleasure in knocking him off the top of that list. We have the various verses of the sea shanties here and their effects. We'll don't really need to look at that now. We'll see that as we come to it a bit later on. And then we have pirate coves. Pirate coves can provide steady income and other benefits from settlements owned by other factions. These coves can be secretly developed at any port settlement, leeching from their current occupants, though they will be blissfully unaware of your various activities. Learn more about the Vampire Coast here. So that is how they play in a nutshell. But we're also going to quickly check. Oh, here we have the first chapter objective. Of course, we have our victory objectives. And we have the overall victory objectives for a short campaign victory. And then we have a long campaign victory, but almost more importantly to me at least, are the chapter victories and the chapter objectives. Chapter 1, the Wrath of the Pirate King. Luthor Harkon has been battling with himself for some time, his fractured mind recently causing him to lose grip on his undead pirate empire. Mutineers have emerged, insolently stealing part of his land named for his exploits. The fog of his mind lifts just enough for Luthor to unite his wills. It is time for the Pirate King to raid the hovels of nearby landlubbers, murdering all before him on his way to regaining supremacy. So occupy, loot, raise, or sack 4 different settlements. Obviously, I think one of the first things that we're going to want to do is solidify the pirate coast itself. That means the Blood Swamps, the Pox Marsh, and we currently have the Awakening. So our first enemy is displayed right in front of us, as is typical in Total War fashion. We have the Vampire Coast Mutineers, the rebellious force that has rebelled against me. Allow myself to introduce myself. So, we also have a second settlement belonging to them, the Temple of Tlenkan? Don't know how to pronounce that with a T in front of it, but you get the idea. So we might take this and maybe see if we can then sail around to get it, or perhaps the Lizard Men might make short work of them before we get to them. We'll have to see. So the other thing I thought we'd take a look at just before we start properly is the actual faction traits that we have. We have Captain of the Coast. Luthor Harkon never chose to come to the New World, but fate decided that he must conquer this exotic land of the dead. Lustria conceals ancient secrets and great power. Harkon's lust will not be sated with until his zombie army rules this land from coast to coast. So diplomatic relations are plus 75 with the followers in Nagash. Now we saw them early on, they were across the water here. We'll have to encounter them a bit later, I guess, but plus 75 as a starting base for diplomacy is pretty huge. And conversely, then we have diplomatic relations negative 75 with Lizard Men. So we're going to see the effects of that fairly soon with the likes of the Cult of Sotek bordering our province. Although we're not at war yet. Then we have our melee defense plus 10 for all lords and heroes, and an army ability called Norse Roar. So once we go into a battle, we'll have a quick look at what that does. Oh, actually, it says it right there. Sorry, I'm blind. It's a wind spell. It lasts 4 seconds, it targets the ground, can't be done on a wall, and it deals 0 to 40 armor-piercing damage, I want to say, across 9 meters per second or something. Causes magical and fire damage, small forward moving area of effect, reduces enemy leadership. Once we use it, we'll know how it works, for sure. Alright, so I think that's pretty much everything. So, looking at the chapter objectives, we have occupy, loot, raise, or sack 4 different settlements, research 3 technologies, win 3 battles, kill 1,000 enemies, search any ruined settlement for treasure, and reach rank 5 with Luthor Harkon. And we'll read them, obviously, when we do them, because that's when they make the most sense. So we actually have a ruined settlement right here. So I think what we're going to do is raise a lord and head out there. But just to jump into things, let's get our first battle underway. We know that we're going to have to deal with the Mutineers. We know that we have Count Gaula
against the code.
That we're going to have to put this rebellion down. Alright, so what do we have? We have our starting army here of zombie pirate deckhands. We have zombie pirate gunnery mob, bloated corpse, morngulls, deck droppers, and carronades. Now something I want to do in future is when I recruit new units, I'd like to open their encyclopedia and read them. But just to get the goddamn series moving, I don't want to spend reading 10 different units here right at the beginning. So I'll kind of slow drip that throughout the series, because I want to read it as well. I actually haven't read a lot of them, so I think it'd be really good to kind of immerse ourselves once we start using them in battle a bit more. So we have various options for recruitment here. We have the regular recruitment. Currently we can get zombie pirate gunnery mob. They can fire while moving, they're resilient, and they have... they're hybrid. What does that mean? Some units are good at casting, range, or melee combat. This unit is good at least 2 things. And it says this unit is good at least 2 things. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Well, I would assume they're decent at melee and guns considering their symbols. So that's good. Their melee attack is only 24, not the best. Missile strength 15, also not the best. But I guess they're hybrid, so maybe keeping them in the front isn't so bad. We have our bloated corpse who just loves to go boom. What you looking at? Then we have monstrous infantry, the Morngulls, master ambushers, and the deck droppers, which are like flying pistol cavalry. Carronades, siege artillery, a small splash effect, and armor-piercing missiles. So we're going to be smashing them into the lizard men if we see them. And that's basically it. I don't know if we're going to get new recruitment right away. We'd like to just move up here, but I might take one unit from our Raise Dead mechanic, which basically is available to all undead armies, I think, where they can essentially just raise dead units from their provinces. If we have a big battle and a lot of people die, this pool fills up even more, which is pretty cool. Then the costs are noticeably increased though here, so I really don't think we should get anything that we couldn't otherwise get. So for instance, we can get Zombie Pirate Gunnery Mob, we can get Scurvy Dogs, but we can't get the Bloated Corpse or the Zombie Pirate Deckhands Mob. So if we wanted another melee unit, I think it makes sense to maybe recruit here. So let's do that. 450 gold, not a big deal.
I am listening.
And we can see their souls flock to our army. Alright, let's begin.
Spill their blood.
Alright, here we go. Count Gauli, so he's basically got 4 units of Zombie Pirates Deckhands Mob, 2 little gunners, and then a different type of flying missile cavalry, deck droppers. They drop bombs instead. Let's begin. Alright, we are in. Here we have Pox Marsh. Lovely looking settlement. Nice bright day as well, which is quite unusual when you're playing as the Vampire Coast. It's usually raining and the like. So our forces are all deployed in that forest over there. I guess I want to pull them out of that forest because we don't want them firing into trees. So we'll kind of make use of this lower ground here. Although there is actually water here. It's kind of hard to see from that high up. But let's just deploy them anyway. So we've got our 2 Zombie Pirate Gunnery Mobs. Just aim them forward like that. We can see there. So actually, I should mention this. You'll notice that I don't use health bars above my flags. I'm old school Total War. I hope people don't really mind that. I essentially just hover over to see the unit. Like, I can see here on the bottom which units are suffering losses. I can see their health bars here. I don't really feel the need to see that in the battlefield itself, and I like to remove as much HUD as possible in many ways, just to give me a more immersive experience, so hopefully people are okay with that. Anyways, let's then lay out some of the melee troops either side. We'll go with 2 on the left. Bloated Corpse maybe just in the back there somewhere. Mourngulls behind the gunner infantry, so that way when the gunners get engaged, we'll send the Mourngulls in. It actually looks pretty cool. It looks like they're like climbing out of the water right now, the swamps as it were. Check it out. Alright. Okay, let's aim our cannons. Maybe shorten these guys a bit. Aim the cannons on the side. And that way we've got pretty good range there. We can just tilt them a little to the left. Nice. Alright, is that everybody? I think that's pretty much everybody. Oh, the Flyers, of course. Our Flying Pistol Cavalry. We'll just pop them over the middle as well. Alright, let's begin. There's Luthor surveying the battlefield from the back.
Luthor Harkon!
His fractured mind recharges in 48 seconds. So I think every minute his personalities split and something different happens. Which we can check out a bit later. Oh my god, the cannon's firing up on the... Oh my god, they got one! Oh shit, they got a few. Nice, good job. Are they moving yet? They are moving now. Take the shot. Jeez, take your time, actually. Holy crap. There we go. About time. Boom. Knocking them out of the sky. They're actually regenerating already. It would seem. Alright, cool. So let's take everyone except them and just tilt this a little bit. Just a little bit. Now, I think we can send out our gunner pistol cavalry. Sorry, I should get the names right. Deck droppers, and we'll just finish these guys off. They seem really weak already. We should turn off guard mode. We don't want to. We want to follow them, chase them. Telling the cannons to fire on the main body of infantry now. These guys can handle this, I think. They're actually getting engaged in melee combat. We want to avoid being shot at from the bottom, though. They can be quite vulnerable, I think. Don't want to waste the bloated corpse if we don't absolutely need to. Let's send in the Mourngulls now. Our front lines have fired off a couple of shots. We do, of course, have our army ability. So I'm just going to pause it really quickly. Normally I won't be giving orders during the battles, but just while we're learning new spells and things. Here we have the Norse Roar. So that's an army ability, wind spell, as we saw before. And its cooldown is 90 seconds. Now we can actually angle it. So yeah, let's do that. Alright, we'll let time play, and then we'll choose where to put it. I like the feature that's coming in Warhammer 3, which actually lets you slow things down while you've clicked a spell. I know most people probably know what they do, but it's nice for me at least when I want to just read some of these things. I'm actually just a bit nervous that that's going to hit my own guys. We've got a bunch coming down off the hills. Let's try this, and I'll pull these guys back. Now they're really slow. I don't think they're going to get out of there. Oh, yeah. They didn't really get out of there that quick. Alright, get back involved. Alright, cool. Both Morngulls are tearing those guys to shreds. Good to see. Let's move our flying units. Now, Luthor, again to pause it, is a melee expert and a duelist. This unit is best to attack individual targets such as lords or heroes, as it can only damage very few individuals at a time. So, considering he's got a missile strength of 1,077, that can't be right. He must have something active that's increasing it like crazy. Fractured Mind, 25% armor-piercing missile damage and base damage. There you go, that's probably helping it quite a bit. So we can engage Count Gyula. If we turn off guard mode, Luthor will make his way so he actually sees what he's doing. Actually, we've got another benefit over here. Power Siphon, a Hex ability, a Lord ability, by which opponents are prevented from marshalling their abilities to counteract Harkon's own lore. So that's again another thing we could use on him. Tell him to go and get the job done. Again, like I said, I hope people don't mind me pausing it just now and then. It's to kind of be able to have the time to also zoom in and check things out, you know? Gonna send that bloated corpse up the hill. We might be able to come around the back and smack him. Sent these guys forward. Tell them to engage those gunners. Lock them down with some melee. Even if it's not that good, it's better than nothing. Alright, I want to send that bloated corpse. He's on his way. You can see the health bar now. Oh my goodness, what? Holy shit. That killed the entire unit. Oh, that was super effective. Alright, let's get the Morngulls to chase those guys, finish them off. Luthor, his view is obstructed. We're gonna have to send him into melee then to deal with the their lord, their general. Did I lose my entire bat unit as well? The explosion was so big, it killed the units above them. It's insane. Don't hit my own unit, so I've kind of done it to the edge. There we go. Pretty good, actually. Nice. So what have we got left? We just have their lord. Alright, Luthor is smashing his own troops. I don't know if that actually counts or not, so I'm just going to pull my own troops out and tell him to engage. Do that hex again. Power Siphon. Siphon the crap out of him. Take the shot, Luthor. You can just aim over the... Well, he doesn't have a head now anyway. There we go. Yay, you got the job done. There we have it, guys. Victory as is. Alright. GG. So we lost our bats unit, but you know what we learned from it? We learned that a bloated corpse is insane. Alright, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. A victory as is. So we lost our bloated corpse, of course, because they detonate on doing their job right, I guess. And then we lost our deck droppers, which was collateral from the explosion. So that's pretty funny. Right, we have three options here. Ransom the captives, share the loot, or assimilate captives. Now, sharing the loot's going to improve our loyalty, but we don't really have loyalty with Luthor. He is our legendary lord. But for other generals, we might consider using this every now and then. I think I'll take the money, because there's not much to actually replenish for us. So we'll take the money.
Let them live.
Let them live. Well, they're not really living, are they? Weapon gained, a shrieking blade. This blade was stolen from a tomb banshee while she sang a haunting nursery tale to a forgotten child. Now the blade sings too, and shrieks when it strikes a foe. Enables magical attacks, causes fear and terror. And Luthor has it. So we'll just check his character panel. There it is, Shrieking Blade. It's in place now. Awesome. That was pretty good little drop. That's quite random, I think, what you get. And speaking of random, we have different treasures around the coastline. Do we have any other ones that we can see? Not really. We have one right there and one right here, so not too far. Alright, so let's move up towards Pox Marsh. We could fall back, build units, and then go, but I think we're fine to just keep pressing, although we can't actually get there in one turn. So maybe we'll just raid. But we have ranked up, actually, so... I've had a quick look through this. I haven't really gone through it. I'm not a big stats guy, and these games are increasingly becoming super heavy on stats, which is fine. If people like that, that's great. I don't mind it necessarily. It's just that it's not necessarily something to my strength is to crunch a bunch of numbers. But essentially, I was looking at Reanimated Marksman, and on tier 2 and 3, it actually buffs the missile strength for zombie pirate gunnery mob. So I was thinking that would make sense to use because we're going to use a lot of them early on. And then later on, you can actually respec your lord with a different mod we have. But we can only ever do it once, so we'll have to think about that if we plan on respecing them. So for now, every time we get a skill, we go up a level, we get 2 points. So we put 2 points in. The first one into Inspiring Presence, increasing our leadership aura size. And then Reanimated Marksman, which is going to give us just immediately some extra ammunition. Not that big of a deal, but the next 2 things will be important. I just noticed this says Leadership Aura Effect +5. So is that extra morale from the aura? It's not actually the size. Any unit standing within this character's aura will receive a leadership bonus. So it's getting an extra bonus, I would assume. So that's good. I'll just keep him nearby. Alright, so let's raid our way in. I think we need 25% movement to raid. So it's 25 right there. Don't screw me over, Total War. Alright, cool. And then we can go stance raiding. We'll gain extra infamy, 50 per turn. And extra income, 207 income. But it also reduces our upkeep by 10%. So we ended up gaining about 400 extra. Because these guys cost 266 to upkeep. So, you know, taking away 10%. Not 2 of them, 50. And so on and so forth. So that's pretty good. Can't recruit, though, while in that stance. So instead, at the Awakening here, I think what we'll do is we'll raise our first Lord. We have 3 different lores to go through, and these are spell lores that I'm talking about. So essentially we have all the different lores here that we can look at, and for us we're most concerned with Lore of the Deep, which has 6 different spells inside of it. Then of course I think it's, well actually let's just double check. It's the Lore of Death, yep, and then Lore of Vampires. So it's all about really what do you want. I'm going to go for each one, and we'll start with Lore of the Deep, just because it's most themed to us. So we'll start looking for a lord here, and we've got 2 different ones we can check, either female or male. They've got their own trait, and then they have their loyalty. So we have an Instigator, gains loyalty for recruiting and fighting with other pirate lords. With other pirate lords? That's very specific. And then Plunderer, gain loyalty for sacking and raiding. Income from raiding 10%. This person is recruit rank is 1 for all recruits. That's actually not bad for a starting army that we know we're going to recruit a lot with. Might not be a bad idea, but his loyalty seems like it could go quite low. And then we have the female side of things. We have a Fire Starter, gain loyalty from raising settlements and winning siege battles. Extra loyalty gained following a battle, and enemy siege holdout time is reduced. Or Murderer, gain loyalty from defending our enemy army and wounding, killing enemy lords in battle. Enemy leadership -3 for the enemy armies in a region. That's also pretty good. -3 leadership. What about the other things? We have a Smuggler, income 8%. So we could go with Lore of Vampires. Gain loyalty from constructing pirate coves. Her loyalty starts higher. You know what? We're going to go with Penny Wake. I'm pretty happy with this. Ambush success chance 25% for Lottie, which I think we're going to have to make use of a bit more. Yeah, I'm going to try that. We're going to go with the Smuggler, I think, just because I need the extra income. I will keep her at home for a bit. Manon's chosen Vampire Fleet Admiral. So that's what she is. She is a Vampire Fleet Admiral. The vampires that led the ranks of undead mariners typically have centuries of experience. As long-living admirals, they can become a warship's heart and soul. Being undead, however, those are 2 things they themselves lack. With the help of their necromancy, they are capable of impressive and sinister feats, driving their reanimated hordes forth in any confrontation, whether on land or at sea. The hiss of their orders can spur a crew to scramble and shamble to enact their master's will and change the course of the warship, and perhaps, if the fates will it, the course of history. The first few vampire admirals were likely Sylvanian outcasts, banished for one reason or another, or simply left Sylvania by their own accord after growing tired of the von Karsteins, enticed to take to the seas by the notorious successes of great vampire admirals such as Count Noctilus and Luthor Harkon. Well, there you go. It's a little. So this must be the lore mod at work, telling us a little bit more about Vampire Fleet Admirals, their origins, and how they came to be. So it actually makes sense. It's pretty cool. It's nice to learn these little things. It kind of builds up over time. It's like, oh yeah, they probably left Sylvania for various reasons, or just because they heard of other famous pirates and stuff. That's pretty cool. All right, so we have Penny Wake, and then we have Zombie Pirate Gunnery mod. So we can't recruit with Luthor, so let's just spam some recruitment here. We can only get 3 things. So let's just get all the gunners we can. We have our Regiments of Renown. We could also raise dead should we want to, but again, the costs are kind of don't really make sense. At least not right away. To build, I think for building we'll focus on economy a little bit early on. We have back alleys, which is a sort of a monetary building in a way. Income from raiding 15%, income from all buildings 5%, and all regions in the adjacent provinces, and then it provides some extra garrison as well, which is just kind of nice. So I think we'll start with that. The next thing I think I want to get is the Desolate Shoal. Now the Desolate Shoal is going to give us access to the recruitment of animated hulks. Now you might think, well, you don't really need that early on. I'll be honest, I've done a trial run of this, and it's so difficult that I'm going to be really freaking out the whole time. And I still haven't ever done it where I've done it successfully. So I've only ever done the first few turns, and every time I've been attacked by the Lizardmen and the Dark Elves. And that's probably going to happen again. And I feel like one thing I can do to at least somewhat prepare for that is get some units that are actually good against armored infantry. So these guys are armor-piercing melee guys. They're aquatic, Bone Crusher. Let's check what Bone Crusher means. How do we, I'm actually not too sure how to pin this. Can you pin it? I don't know. I'll right-click it and see what we see. But this doesn't actually tell you when you hover over it. I'm sure you guys probably know a way. There is a way. But I don't know how to see it. See what aquatic means and what Bone Crusher means. But we'll check it when we can actually get the building, then we can hover over it. Because there's usually, if you do this, for instance. Nope, that doesn't do it either. This? Yeah, you can pin. And then it's like, oh, I can pin. Now I can hover over things and see what different things mean. So aquatic, whereas some units struggle to fight and move in shallow water, this unit excels. So that's fine. I just didn't know how to do that for the actual buildings tooltip, but whatever. So that's my plan anyway, is to get some units to prepare for that. A lot of people in my Discord, when I was telling them, like, man, what do you do against armored units early on as the Vampire Coast? They were saying, like, honestly, pack up your boats and just sail away. So I don't know, maybe we'll have to do that. Maybe we'll have to do that. It's kind of up to you guys to make a choice and help me out if you think we need to. So for Luthor, we're going to build up his ship because obviously we can take that with him. And we've got a variety of options here. All these two options are grouped together. We have the sails, the helm, the hull, and the anchor. So which anchor do you want? Which hull do you want? Which stern or sails do you want? Etc. One option locks out the other. You can't have both. So I was thinking of going with this one, the heavy ballast, because it gives us 20 experience gain per turn. So it's just free experience over time. Well, not free, but you know what I mean. It's basically free. Passive experience that you just earn.
A force to be reckoned
you can get extra movement range, extra winds of magic, recruitment reductions, corruption. Corruption's 100% in this province. Upkeep reduction, -3 is kind of decent because you could obviously build it up. We can get some of these later, but I think to start off, just getting some base experience. I want to like make my troops better. This also takes 1 turn as well. It's an officer's cabin, and that's actually going to unlock the next thing for us. So essentially, negative upkeep 4%, so that's good. A reduction of upkeep. Pirate crew recruitment capacity, so we can recruit more units where we are, and pirate crew growth 7. Here, decisions are made, booty is split, meals are ravenously consumed, and tired freebooters rest their weary pegs. It only takes a turn each, so we're down to just 998. Now, if we want to search these ruins, which is according to our chapter objectives, we do. We need something. How much money do we need? I think we need about 3,000 to be able to colonize it after, so I'm going to have to kind of just save my money then for a couple of turns. So we'll get some, I think, by taking Pox Marsh. So in our research, God, there's just so much stuff, isn't there? In our research, we have Command, Legendary Admirals, Salvage, and Firepower. And these are all the different categories we can go into. Now, once we break open one of these tech trees, then we're into spending Infamy to just get a tech. So it becomes very expensive. Because 500 Infamy, you know, we're only making a couple hundred at best every few turns. At the moment, we'll have to be fighting on a lot of fronts, I think, to build all this up. There might be buildings as well, maybe pirate coves that generate some. But for now, that looks like it's a long way off. Because there was also a chapter that said get 3 techs, but the first tech is going to take 15 turns. So it's going to take a very long time, I think, to get that. But I think I want to go into Firepower again. I think I need to focus on a strong army. I always like to focus economy when I play Total War games, generally, and turtle up for a while. But we need a better defense than what we have, because our troops are, I mean, they are squishy, basically, as corpses tend to be, I imagine. Alright, we have 2 more things to look at before we end this turn for once and for all. We have rights, which we'll look at a bit more in detail later on, but essentially we can do various things and then spend money to activate various global buffs, get units, etc. The other thing is the treasure maps and pieces of 8. So, we have 1 treasure map already, the Riddle of the Map Maker. And it's located somewhere around here. I think basically you gotta be on top of the town and then digging for it will unlock it. But beyond that, I don't know where the other ones are gonna be. Then we also have the Pieces of 8. Now, Pieces of 8, I think are explained somewhere here. Do we hover over to tell us? There we go. Pieces of 8 are cursed trinkets that give access to regiments of renown as they're collected. So, if we want to build these special units, yes, we need to gather Pieces of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm not sure how you get them all. We'll look into it later. Doesn't really matter. But I know that the Pieces of 8 contribute to each one, at the very least. So the Pieces of 8 are quite interesting because they're actually kept by various armies that move around the map. So we'll be keeping an eye on them if they come into our kind of relative contact zone, or an area that we can kind of reach them, then we'll go and venture forth and see if we can take them out. And this is why I thought I like the Vampire Coast aesthetically. I think they're cool, but this is why I thought it'd be a great campaign to do, because there's so many different little objectives we can do at all the times. You know, we can be searching Pieces of 8, we can be digging for treasure, we can be getting our Infamous up, or our Infamy up. We could be establishing pirate coves anywhere in the world. We have a reason, lore-wise, to sail anywhere. So it's just really cool. And then we have our meta progression of Luthor himself and all of that. So I just think it's really cool. Alright, that's it. We'll get ready to jump on Pox Marsh. Actually, last thing, diplomacy, of course. We have the Dread Fleet just to our north. So that's going to be Count Noctilus. Now, we haven't properly encountered him. When I encounter him, we'll read his lore. But for now, we'll just talk to him briefly and say, hey, non-aggression, some trade, perhaps? I'll wait then. You know what? I'll wait. But there doesn't seem to be anything else around for us to deal with diplomatically. So let's end the turn. Let's go. Alright, the turn has just ended. We have a war declared between Zlatlan and Clan Fester. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Those ones are particularly difficult to pronounce. So I'm actually not really too familiar with either of these factions, but they're obviously just somewhere out west here, because the camera pans over here. So the more wars out there, the better as far as I'm concerned, keeping everyone else busy. It doesn't look like anyone else is at war that I can see with the Mutineers, are they? The Mutineers are just at war with us. And Count Gaeulus survived? Wow, I actually didn't think that was the thing. I thought he was just a regular lord, so he would just die. But apparently he's still kicking. I'll have to hunt him down. Alright, let's go for Pox Marsh. Now, just really quickly, always worth checking anything that might be available for fun. 2,400. I'm tempted to get just 1 extra unit. Nah, it'll probably be fine, right? We can handle it. We have our Mourngulls. They're not going to die. Tempted to get this unit though, because we actually can't get them. Zombie pirate gunnery mob with handguns. Twice as expensive as a regular unit, but no, I'll leave it, I'll leave it. Let's go. Right, so a Pyrrhic victory is predicted. It doesn't say we're going to lose any units. I would say this is probably going to be a fairly boring fight, guys, so I'll probably just auto-resolve it. I think you guys want to see bigger fights, more interesting factions. This is the starting rebellion faction, so we'll just auto-resolve. It is a Pyrrhic victory. It means it will take us a while to replenish. That's probably as good as I would have done.
Start the onslaught.
Alright, we deployed 688, we lost 394. They lost everything. Obviously, vampire factions completely degrade when their magical binding ceases to exist. 102, wow, we leveled them fast. Don't worry about it, I've seen that before in my testing. It is just a graphical bug, it'll reset in a moment. So we could occupy, sack, establish a pirate cove, or raise. Now, I don't think it really makes sense to establish a pirate cove when we're going to own the settlement ourselves. Because we can't. We want to own the entire coast. Oh, it looks like there is a storm in this part of the sea. Yep. So we won't really be venturing in there. We'll take big attrition if we do.
The Pirate King.
So it looks like we're going to be waiting a little while anyway. But we were planning on heading south, so no big deal. Now it looks like we can actually take a boat down here and just maybe hop out, see what's going on at the Blood Swamps and search it.
Dropping.
There we go. So let's try loot it.
Navigating.
So cost of colonization is 2,500.
Fine.
So we're not going to colonize it, we're going to search, because it's one of our chapter objectives. You'll be presented with a puzzle.
That's it.
Alright, a rubric of the Old Ones. Throughout the world, the Old Ones left vast troves of power for use by their most trusted servants. To prevent such power falling into the wrong hands, they place wards and cryptographic locks over them. As millennia have passed, these wards have weakened, but the arcane locks remain. To access the treasure, solve the puzzle. Solitude is always desired. Huh. Okay. So we have 4 shapes here. Every shape seems to be represented on the board. At least somewhere. So, I have no idea, guys. So, solitude is always desired. Let's see if we can recognize some sort of pattern that breaks the flow of things. So, let's see. So, this is there. This is there. This is there. This is there. So I guess this one is the only one that's like not on a left, right, or bottom, but it is on the thing. So that's my best guess at the only thing that's different here. There's 3 blue, there's 3 yellow, there's 2 red, and 1 purple. So it doesn't seem to be to do with numbers for colors. So I'm just going to wing it and say it's probably this one, because this is an odd one to me. It's not even that odd, though, really. This one's also arguably odd because there's only one of them. So, I have no idea. Solitude is always desired. I don't really know what that would mean relating to these shapes. So I'm just going to go with this one. Sorry if you know the answer. God damn it. Penny Wake, you let me down. It wasn't me, it was her. Sadly, it would appear that the old ones were not at your back on this occasion. Better luck next time. So, fun fact, there was 2 of those puzzles before that cropped up, one in my Discord and one that when I was messing around testing things out, and I got them both right. I just want to let you know that I'm not a complete idiot. But yeah, I haven't seen that one. I don't know what the answer to that is. You let me know in the comments what I needed to do, or what I need to think about there, because I don't see why that was wrong. But maybe it's just something obvious I haven't really thought of.
I have sailed the
Alright,
world.
anyways, we'll colonize this. We have to wait till next turn before we can. So in the meantime, I think we should keep recruiting. It looks like Luthor is ranked up yet again. So we'll get both reanimated marksman levels again. So level 2 and level 3. Boom, boom. That's going to bring us all the way up to 10% increase to missile strength for zombie pirate gunnery mob, rotting Prometheans gunnery mob, and deck gunners units. Deck gunners. Ammunitions increase for those 3 units as well. Now, I don't know about this. Maybe you might be able to help me out. But it said zombie pirate gunnery mob. It didn't say zombie pirate gunnery mob with handguns, you know, for the different variants. So I wonder, does it include the variants? I think I looked, through the tree and I didn't see, and I didn't see if it had anything relevant to specific, you know, variations of units like that. So hopefully it does cover everything. But anyway, let's get recruiting and get a few more. We'll get 2 of them and a pair of dogs. Group of scurvy boys. And I think as we're mustering, that actually increases replenishment. It actually doesn't, but interestingly, it reduces upkeep by 10%. I think that happened. Oh no, that's just because we're garrisoned. Oh yeah, that's fine then. That's good to know, actually. Garrisoning reduces 10%. Alright, not much else then to have a look at. We've constructed our back alleys, we've constructed our officer's cabin, and we've integrated the heavy ballast onto Luthor's ship. Not much else to go by there. And then, of course, the last thing I never talked about is we have an officer's screen. So when Penny Wake, who's so far just been an absolute disaster, when she levels up and levels up to level 5, we can pop her in these various slots here and get her to be our first mate and so on and so forth. Our fleet secretary, our fleet beastmaster, and whatever it might be. Alright, I think we're good to go. Keep going. Let's have a look now if your boy Nock
comes to those who trespass
wants to trade. Still doesn't. Now, we should have enough money next turn to colonize this. Hopefully it's worth it. Is she low on loyalty? She actually is. 3 out of 10 already. God damn. She wants it all. Oh, I'll give it to her. Bring me wine and gold, slaves. I want more. Damn your eyes. Loyalty is between 3 and 4 currently. Chance of rebellion if we disband her. Public order -3. Upkeep 5% for all of her units and a campaign movement debuff. Yikes. Alright, let's end the turn. Right, a pretty uneventful end turn sequence. Nothing actually happened. I didn't see anything move. Now, something I forgot to talk about when we got this second army is the supply lines feature. Now, I'm assuming this has changed here in SFO Grimhammer. The more armies you field, the harder it becomes to recruit new ones, but also everyone will be more experienced. A 1% upkeep modifier plus a 10% recruitment cost for raising dead as well. But also you get 25 unit XP every turn. So the more armies we have, the more they all gain XP. That's definitely, I think, to do with the mod. Now it says ignore 50% and ignore 861. I don't know what that means. Traditionally in Warhammer, what happens is if you get another army, it's like another 10, 20, 30% increase to upkeep for everyone every time. A lot of people don't like this. I actually think it's fine, but I can see why people don't like it. This seems to be adjusting it slightly so that you at least get something back. And recruitment is actually increased. So it's like, yeah, okay, well, we'll see how it all pans out. But essentially our upkeep has only gone up by 1% according to this. So, not too bad. Having two armies doesn't seem like it's going to be too bad of a setback. However, our lords do cost 500 gold just in themselves. That's kind of a lot of money. Alright, we currently have 3,300. Let's go and colonize. 2,500. Boom. And we spent 360 of our zombies to do that. Province secured. The Vampire Coast. We've attained complete control of this province. It's now possible to issue a commandment across the land. And we've also unlocked a new right. Curse of Eternal Service. Tales of crew who serve under undead pirate captains state that they were press-ganged to remain under the sway of their admiral, not just for decades, but forever. It is best then to embrace such fortune, for fate is rarely kind to deserters. This rite is now available to be performed via the rites panel at the bottom right of the screen. Alright, we had a look at that before, so let's have a look at it really quickly. Curse of Eternal Service. On turn start, lords have a chance to gain loyalty. Loyalty won't decline for them, public order stays high, or goes up, and recruitment cost is reduced. But you need 2 grand to enact it. It lasts 5 turns, and it takes 20 turns before you can do it again.
Luthor Harkon.
Now, still have no word of anything attacking these guys, do we? Nope, just them. The storm has eased, we can now set sail.
My madness
But
is not weakness.
I do want to replenish. We have to also think about what's down south. The Dark Elves, knowing them, they can get pretty aggro, as well as the Lizardmen. It's going to be tough to solidify this province, at least, or hold on to it. We do have 100% corruption, and now the Blood Swamps is in need of being built up. So we have a ruined jetty and a ruined port, but they need to be basically built. We need 1,100 gold and 1,900. So I'm pretty tempted to make a play for this treasure, see what we get, because you could end up getting a lot of money. The problem is we have to go through a bunch of attrition, or we could go around, but then we won't heal, and we kind of need to right now. So it's a shame. Shame we can't just leave him behind and go searching with just Luthor, but you can't. You have to bring everyone. So we could go there and then go around. Now if we go Force March, we can get there faster, but we actually doesn't count to getting it. So I'm probably gonna have to leave it as much as I want it. I think I need to just build up my strength a bit more. So, being garrisoned, do we gain replenishment any faster? It doesn't seem like it. Whereas, being encamped, it says you gain casualty replenishment rate 4%. So should I step outside and replenish?
Undead pirates.
So it says at the moment, troops... Well, let's just hop in. So, troops replenish per turn 19 for this unit. And we'll just step outside and have a look at what it would be. 12. So it is better to be in a town, as I thought, but, you know, depends on the mod, really. In Divideat and Para for Rome 2, it's actually quite a bad idea to sit inside towns. Your upkeep goes way up, or way the wrong way. It becomes more expensive, the town gets really unhappy, they don't like having armies in their towns. It's completely the opposite of how Total War normally does it, so sometimes you just have to figure those things out. But good to know. So we'll just sit and replenish, I guess that's all we can do. Maybe we'll build a unit, just one, just to get the momentum going, but I don't know. We do need that money, actually. I might just wait. I think I kind of have to. Sorry for being so indecisive, but we have to build this ruined jetty in the port, so we'll just have to wait. Alright, we do have a commandment, which means, actually, this is perfect. We'll dredge the sea. This commandment is available because we have the entire province, and dredging the sea basically means that recruitment cost goes down by 10%. Growth goes up by 40, and recruitment capacity is up by 1. Now, there's other things we could do as well. We could spend some of our infamy to prevent loyalty declining. Now, I actually am too familiar with What's the reason for loyalty declining? We can actually check it in, I believe, the question mark pages help panel. So I don't know if it's going to tell us specifically about loyalty. There we go, we found it real quick. Loyalty is a measure of the willingness of a lord of the Dark Elves, the Skaven, or the Vampire Coast to follow their leader. Should a lord's loyalty reach 0, they will rebel, taking their army with them to form a new faction. The starting loyalty for each lord available for recruitment can vary. Loyalty is measured on a scale of 0 to 10. If the loyalty of a lord is low, then there's a chance they'll rebel if replaced as the commander of an army. So, the question I had was, what lowers loyalty? Does it just go down every turn? I don't know. I don't know. Or is it if you lose battles and stuff, you know? Yeah, I don't know. I think it might just start to decline, but I'm not too sure exactly if there's a root cause of it. Because otherwise then we have to get out and start founding some, you know, pirate coves. That's what she wanted to do, to buffer loyalty. Or we could enable those rights, or whatever. Alright, so let's enact that. Let's go to recruitment cost -10, dredge the sea, pull up some dead bodies, increasing our growth of our towns, and let's end the turn. Alright, so there's some cause for concern, but actually we have the capacity system now. So this is the specific thing for Grimhammer, which lets you decide how your campaign will play thanks to the cap system. You can have faction-wide caps, army-wide caps. I've already read through this. I'm going to go with both. Now, a combination of both the cap systems. Be aware that this will make your campaign much harder. You'll have to very carefully consider each army's composition as well as which buildings you build in each province. Love it. Love the sound of it. It will make things more difficult, but it does say that the AI behaves the same rules. So they're not going to have armies full of just 20 stacks of some monster. They should obey the cap system as well. So that's pretty good, but I don't think they have to obey the building system, which is fine. So let's go with that. Once you enable it, you can't change it, so let's go. We'll have a look at it more in depth when we go on. Hey, the storms after happening here yet again. So cause for concern is we're being raided right now, right here. Now, I don't think they waged war, did they? The Dark Elves? But we have a foreign trespasser, Jaden. Now, we don't know what she has, which is a bit of a cause for concern. So it's the Blessed Dread with Lokhir, Fellheart. Before we check him out, I think what I'm going to do is, this place is, I think, could be taken out really quickly. So I'm just going to back off to here, and we're going to bring Luthor back down with us.
The dead do not tire. Curse my crowded psyche.
And hopefully those mutineers don't engage me anytime soon. So we've activated Forced March. We're going to go as quick as we can down along the coast and try to link up with Penny Wake. If the two of us together can... In fact, actually, can I get over to the other province? This is the Awakening. Trying to just see where the actual line is. There it is. So now you can recruit. So if we were to lose this province here, not a big deal because we can just come back down. So we're going to get some of those new animated hulks that we have. So we're going to get 2 of them, and we'll get some more gunners. Alright, great. So seeing as we're being raided by Lokhir Fellheart, it might not be quite him himself. Allow myself to introduce myself. But it is his faction. So let's take a quick moment to read about his lore. Alright, we have the Blessed Dread, Lokhir Fellheart. From the forbidding blackened towers of their sprawling dread city Port Karrant, the Dark Elves, or Druki as they are called in the Elven tongue, while away their extremely long lives indulging in internecine plots, twisted schemes, depraved, debauched acts of all kinds, and of course, wanton cruelty, sickening torture, and bad old-fashioned death. With devotions such as these, you would think that a life of adventure on the perilous high seas of the great ocean, endlessly fighting, raiding, and plundering at great personal risk, would be far too much like hard work for the hedonistic Druki. I got my Roman tongue in there. Yet there are some among their number who eschew the decadent lifestyles of their peers, throwing caution and themselves to the wind quite literally. Of course, for many, the intention is to escape the dangers of Nagarothi life, where execution or murder, always accompanied by a smile, if not maniacal laughter, are always close by, if not waiting around the next corner. Not so in the case of Lokhir Fellheart, the dreaded Kraken Lord. He was born to ply the rolling seas, bringing death to those stupid enough to attempt to traverse them, and fire, terror, and enslavement to unsuspecting foreign shores. Countless ports and coastal cities lie ruined and ablaze in his wake, for Fellheart is the latest in a long line of doom-bringing admirals to command the Black Ark known as the Tower of the Blessed Dread. As a result of his terrible exploits, Fellheart has accumulated much plunder, wealth beyond measure in fact, along with far greater glory than all of his forebears combined. More treasure flows through current car than ever before, of both the shiny sort and the fleshy, enslaved kind, earning him the grudging respect, if not quite the trust, of the city port's dreadlord masters. But that is enough for Fellheart, for he cares little for politics or anything much except loot and plunder and what it can buy him, the loyalty of his corsairs and the lavish bribes he pays to insalubrious officials that enable him to operate freely. Although he keeps the best pieces for himself, Fellheart is admired by his crew for his generosity, a quality not normally associated with Dark Elves. They also trust him due to the personal courage that he displays in battle, a dangerous habit that other Druchii admirals tend to lose as soon as they can, lest their days on account upon the great ocean be very few in number. It is certainly true that the privations of sea life, including his high-pressure command, have done little to blunt Lokhir Fellheart's swordplay. He fights as naturally as he reads the oceans. Well aware that the loyalties of pirate crews hold only as long as their captain's reputation, Fellheart relentlessly slays enemy heroes, tossing their severed heads onto an ever-growing pile, knowing full well that every skull adds another page to his book of legend and gives mutineers more than a few compelling reasons not to cross swords with their captain. Alright, there you have it. That is Lokhir Fellheart. Super interesting dude. I've never actually read anything about him. He sounds very, very interesting. Seems ripe for good storytelling as well. The fact that he is a dark elf that basically is a pirate. Super cool. To kind of tie in that sort of slavery and everything and all that like debauchery and everything they're known for, to tie that into the pirate lifestyle really does go hand in hand. But the reasons for him doing all these things, he's not into the political aspect and all of that, his crew love him, that sort of thing, I think is really cool. So very glad I've read it. Now, I didn't read it before this, so I'm very happy to have had the opportunity, I guess, to spend some time with it. Now, we haven't actually come across him yet. We have his subordinate, Jaden, doing his work here, raiding our coastline. Now, of course, I don't really know what the lore reasons would be here. What are we hearing? We're hearing rumors. We can't quite see them. There's rumors that on our extreme borders, maybe some of the souls and the bodies that we're dredging up and trying to bring towards our blood swamps to grow the city are being intercepted. That's what I would say is going on. So we know that something's afoot, and we're reacting to that. Luthor is on the way, but of course I'm always concerned that something is going to be on the way from this direction, so we'll have to bear that in mind.
Admiral of the fleet.
Alright, so we've done our recruitment, we have done our movement orders, we don't have any money left, there's nothing we can really do. We're not at war with the Dark Elves, we're not at war with Lokhir Fellheart, but it's only a matter of time if he's raiding our territory that he's going to make a move. So let's begin, or let's end the turn I should say. Alrighty, well the raiding continues from Lokhir Fellheart's Blessed Dread. Looks like he sent one of his minions forth. Very interesting, very aggressive plays coming from Lokhir because he hasn't actually declared war yet. Yet his army has now shown its face and they are right outside the blood swamps. And the interesting thing, of course, is that there's no garrison here. They could just walk in. But they haven't declared war. They're just raiding. All for 10 gold. But they have moved closer. Maybe they just want to get right on top of it. I don't know. Very strange. I'm very surprised they didn't go to war. And we can see what they have.
Who seeks me?
7 out of 20 units. One of their units, the Bleak Swords here, is at 50% strength. Good news for me. Black Ark Corsairs, we don't know what strength they're at. And then we can see a full strength Feral Manticore. Now, interestingly, they're actually replenishing while raiding. Immune to attrition, so my vampiric corruption is doing nothing while they raid. But constant casualty replenishment rate, 8%. So they're actually gaining. That's really weird. Now, we don't know much about Jaden. We can't see her in this list here, but she is at level 5. So, presumably got a few abilities that she can throw at us as well, if we were to fight. Weirdly as well, Teclis has just randomly wandered through our territory, presumably going somewhere else. He's taking attrition, he's not actually raiding. Oh, we've got a new chapter objective. Complete the quest for Slann Gold and construct the ancient vault building at the settlement known as the Awakening. So that's our capital. And we can look at the building browser for that. There it is, the ancient vault is a landmark. Luthor Harkon's mind is broken, and he believes the key to his condition lies buried somewhere. Now this is a tier 5 building, so it is something we do not have to worry about for a long time. And just let's have a look at what do we get for it. The reward is a united mind, and we'll be able to cast spells from the Lore of the Deep. Harkon's mind is split between multiple personalities, all vying for dominance in his head. The only goal they share is the restoration of his psyche. To restore his mind, Harkon must be willing to seek out lizardman artifacts and learn of the spell that fractured it. Okay, well that's not going to be something we'll ever do for quite a while. And that's a chapter objective? Am I wrong in thinking that that's the wrong name for it? It's not here as a chapter objective, but I assume it's just something that we'll get later down the line. It's just a regular mission that we see here. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Another one has just happened. A personality has taken over. One of Luthor's more extreme personalities has temporarily seized control of his shattered mind, granting him some temporary effect. It may not be long until another personality takes over, however, and he's now become the Coward. Luthor's mind is being controlled by his most craven personality, which would sooner have him cower behind his undead minions before facing danger directly. So that's 15% speed, 15% missile strength, and a reduction in his leadership. Now, it's not for the army, it's just for him, right? So I guess that just means we'll have to kind of keep him back because his morale is low and his missile is stronger. Now, speaking of tech lists, I'd love to read about him and learn more about the High Elves, and we'll do that, I think, in the next episode, as it's getting on a bit in this one. And I'd like to just kind of speed up and get another battle going if we can. I kind of figured that we'd be throwing it down with the Dark Elves immediately, but it doesn't seem like they're going to give in for that. Now, interestingly, we're actually able to upgrade this into a Shoreline of the Cursed. This will provide us with a garrison, deck droppers, zombie pirate deckhands, and zombie pirate gunnery mobs. So 5 units in total. I could just recruit and push in, but I think I'll invest in the 2 turns and just hope that they don't attack for 2 turns, and we'll get 5 units back out of it. Basically, for free, you know, for much cheaper than if we recruited them anyway ourselves. And we'll just sit in here now. So it'll be a 7v7 if they want to go toe-to-toe with me.
I have arrived.
But hopefully we can just hold out and get this thing built. So Penny Wake, you're on the job. I mean, even better would be if they just back off, which they might. Now, who are the High Elves going to fight?
How dare you seek me out?
Clan Fester, oh yeah. So obviously a bunch of people are at war with Clan Fester, and I guess they're just crossing the jungle to get to them. I have to go through my attrition lands to do so. So I'm thinking of actually turning around now with Luthor, because the Temple of Tlenken, the Mutineers still exist. So we should just push towards them, I think, with what we have. Can we cross this area here? See, I don't want to go through this area. Presumably Skaven. Yeah, I'm just going to go straight this way. And what we can do is, once we get to about here, I think we can raid. Yes. So next turn we'll start raiding them. And we should make some money and push up that way then. And we're replenishing the whole time too. Alright, we spent all our money. There's really not much else to do. I'm just going to keep a focus on this area to see if anything moves. Let's end the turn. Alright, interesting. Again, the raiding continues. This active aggression from Lokhir, but he won't actually commit to the fight. Aha, but he has moved. He's moving 2 more armies up, actually, which is a bit of a concern. But it looks like this is going to pay off. They haven't actually waged war. We have another High Elf army moving through. This isn't Techless, this is Adagia. Presumably moving towards Clan Fester. And like I said, the raiding continues. So there's not much for us to do. We are currently replenishing, and we're waiting for 1 more turn to get our garrison units. That'll back us up. So we'll get 5 units. But I am going to build an extra one. We've got the money now to get another unit. So we'll go with Zombie Pirate Gunnery Mob. Just another one. Full strength. And let's see how it's going with Luthor. So we're just going to push into their territory and start raiding our way to this final town. And we'll probably establish a pirate cove if we can take it. So we need 25% to do this. That's 24 or 32. 32 is good enough. Let's go there.
We will get there.
Oh shit, we actually just found the Mutineers themselves, led by Vincent Greer, so not Gaula, or whoever it was before.
Not this time.
2 bloated corpses, 9 units in total. We've got 13, but we are now obviously under strength. It's quite interesting. It's like the opposite of what's going on down on the other side of things. But yeah, let's commit to the raid. Now, unlike the Dark Elves, we don't actually replenish while raiding, but at least we reduce our upkeep and we're immune to attrition and stuff like that. So, and we make money. So that's good. So we're going to have 1,200 gold, and then of course we can just start spamming to raise dead, maybe next turn to prepare for a fight. Don't want to do it now. Yeah, don't want to do it now. I want to look a little bit weak so that they actually commit this. They have less than me, so it'll be lucky if they commit at all, to be honest. Because if they back off to here, then we have to fight that garrison and the army. So we want to separate them, obviously, to do as well as we can. Alright. Anything else that we can do? I don't think so. Again, we're just going to have to end turn. I'll be very curious to see what these Dark Elves do. So let's end the turn. Alright, faction destroyed. Clan Fester are no more. They have been obliterated. Now the High Elves were constantly moving off that way, so I assume they're the ones that did the job, or maybe now they're going to be coming back, because from the looks of it, as you can see, we're constantly being raided. Jaden's leveling up, she's now rank 6, but they are walking all over the High Elves territory. Now I think we can actually
Your words are nothing to me.
select the High Elves and see how they feel. Specifically about the Dark Elves, right? Can't we do that? Yeah, here. Relations. So, -98. -98. They approve of trespassers against me. How dare they? Yeah, so, and that's just from aversion. Obviously, High Elves to Dark Elves. Massive aversion cost there. So it's quite interesting. You'd think that they go to war with each other, but they haven't. If we could maybe make the... If they go to war with me, I think the High Elves will come in on my side, though. I like to think that. Maybe if we give them some money, they will. Now we're actually being raided for a proper amount, seeing as our building is done.
Admiral of the fleet.
We have our garrison full strength right off the bat. Love to see it. So that's pretty good. And then, of course, we have Vincent Greer over here. He's actually backed off to the side just a little bit. Just out of our range, unfortunately. Damn. So we can just continue to move forward and continue to raid. Look at that. The lizard men have actually colonized this territory now. We didn't get any events about them, did we? Nope. The winds of magic have changed. That's alright. Unit recruited, construction complete. So nothing else for us. Money's good though now. 1,600 gold and 1,100 coming in.
Say something.
So we can get a few extra units. Honestly, we could just maybe bypass these guys and go straight for the town.
My madness is not weak.
It would be cool if we could bait them into an attack though, but I don't see that happening. Let's get these. I'm going to get 3 of these melee units. Now that we're stronger, I wouldn't be surprised if they just back off. It's such a damn shame that we can't just reach it. We're so close. That's the way it goes in this. Now, we have enough to... Upkeep is increased. Movement range increased. Vigor means that we start the battle tired. Should the army be attacked, retreat will be impossible.
The dead do not tire.
I think I'll do that and just start pushing this way. If they want to engage me, go for it. If you don't want to engage me, you're not going to be able to get past me easily because this river's in the way. And I'm zone of controlling it, right? So they'll have to go around. But that river's in the way and there's no bridge crossing. So we might get there before they do. We'll have to see. Alright guys, I'm sorry to leave it on a bit of a tease, but the episode has gone on long enough. We're going to have to progress to whatever the next battle is going to be in the next episode. We've actually just encountered another faction, the Hunts Marshal's Expedition, which is Marcus Wolfhart, I believe. I'll have to read about him as well. Alright, so thank you guys very much for watching. Remember, the next episode should be up already on my second channel, Republic of Let's Play. Please do check the description and so on to go find that episode, join the playlist, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully you'll be able to find it no problem. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.